Hey everybody. Today I'm just going to give an overview and run through the log analysis project one. Um, just hopefully just make it easier for you um, to complete the project. Just understanding what the important parts are. Basically you are going to build a collection of queries. Some of them are going to be kind of advanced, perhaps certain types of joins and certain views that'll be used. And the main goal of this project is to make gaining insightful information from the data almost a second nature to you. So through completing this project, you're essentially going to be learning to connect to a database, and then once you've connected to a database, query the database for whatever it is that the end users require. And so just doing this repeatedly, which you'll need to do to get this project right, it'll just make that second nature, and you'll just like, for example, when you first learn to drive a car, you're going to be focusing on when to apply the brakes, when to look in the mirror, when to turn the turn signal, etc. But once that becomes second nature, you focus more on where you're going and not exactly how you do the driving itself. And so log analysis is a great project to just really make creating queries in SQL second nature. So really the reason that you'd want to do this is because this allows you to start working with real world data, which nearly every single full stack web developer job would require you to really, have an intuitive grasp on the data that the company that you'd be working for is managing with their applications. And in doing this, you'll be perfecting your querying, knowing exactly what kind of queries to run, which queries you should store as views, and then how to query so that you gain the maximum insight from the data. So those would be the main reasons. It's the kind of project that when you're first trying it, it may take you ages, days or weeks to complete. But once it becomes second nature and intuitive to you, it's the kind of thing that you can probably do in an hour or less, which might be annoying or frustrating or incredibly exciting, depending on how far along you are and how comfortable you are with SQL. But I think it's a really interesting project, and I think you'll probably be enjoying it. Another important thing about it is that very often you're going to be doing report generation, and this just makes it a super simple. Having these skills makes that a super simple task for you. Whereas if you don't hone these skills, it's just going to become increasingly difficult doing the rest of your building the rest of the application. So the real skills that you will be developing in this project will be your working in the shell, because that's obviously how you'll set up your connection to your database. In this instance, you use Sarco PG2, and yeah, that's the database API. Then obviously, as I said, data handling and working in the shell, and then learning how to do very complex queries, left inner, left outer, joins, just depending on exactly what your end user needs. And then obviously this will change all the time. You may present some data, and the customer may then say, well, this was good, but now can you do it for me this way? And so it really allows you to get a good handle on the data, which is most important just in reporting. So I just want to mention what would probably be the hardest part, or where people tend to struggle the most with this project. The hardest parts of this will first of all be getting familiar with the different ways of connecting with the database, depending on which database API you're using. So just getting familiar with PsychoPG2 and the Python code that you need to implement this. That just might take a bit of memorization in the beginning. So yeah, just focus on that, knowing how to connect to the database, and just keep doing that over and over. And then the next hardest part will be to get the data into the format that the customer requires. So when you are basically outputting the code, you may get you're kind of using two languages. You're using SQL and you're using Python. And so if you're relatively new to programming, or you're relatively new to one or both of the languages, you may get confused between the two, the syntax. So that's something that's a bit difficult. And then just deciding what queries you need to, or how to structure your queries. Hopefully this is something you can do quite, hopefully these are things that are quite difficult, but they're only difficult for a very short period of time. They're difficult until you master them. So overall, it's not a very long project, but I would suggest that what you really do is just maybe say there's three things that are quite important. You want to perfect your SQL queries, especially the more complex ones. And this includes views, and understanding why you have a view. So really starting to appreciate that there's certain things that will be queried repeatedly. And then the next thing that you need to focus on is just getting your coding syntax right. And then the last thing would be the style. Make it easy for your code to be read by other developers. So follow the Pep8 style guide. And if you really do understand your SQL queries, you understand which joins are necessary at which point, and you're structuring your code correctly, this should be quite a easy project. So if you have any questions, I don't see any right now, but I'll have the AMA after this. So any questions you have, I'll be specific ones. I'll be happy to answer. Cool. Good luck, guys. I'm sure you'll be able to do this. Yeah, very well. Awesome.